Somehow he hooks, like we have to be over 20. Ernie! I remember that Ernie chase. Yeah! I go. I got, go over. I told you I was going to tattoo that pink shirt. Good drop. Body bags.
3, 2, 1. Nice shot, another one.
All right. Hello and welcome to our first episode of Dinks and Drinks. We are both from Dallas, Texas, so we are going to be responsible and drink Dr. Peppers rather than Cheers, our normal beers. All right. Well, first off, we're in Steven's kitchen, my co-host today. So take your problems to your opponent's kitchen, not to his. And a little bit about me. I coach pickleball for a living. I've been doing it for about a year and a half after not giving up a tennis coaching career, but deciding to go to a much funner sport. My duper is below average, and I'll say I got started playing pickleball because my friend forced me to. Steven, how did you get started playing pickleball?
We're in Nantucket 2 years ago. There were public courts. I'm a tennis player and squash player by background. I went out to the public courts. They have drop-ins here. Picked up a racket, started playing. I've got good racket skills, I would say. And that evolved from borrowing a paddle to buying now probably 20 paddles and completely addicted.
Including this crappy Adidas one, right?
Completely addicted.
Awesome. So anyway, today we're going to go over a couple topics. I think me and Steven, as higher level pickleball players, can really give some perspective on stuff that aggravates every level of pickleball player. Our first topic of today is how do we handle the growing problem or concern with players just they're unwilling to play with players that aren't their exact level. And I'm not saying their exact level duper-wise, I'm saying in their own mind. A lot of the time, someone believes they're 4-0. Steven, how many people have you said are a Dallas 4-0 or a Nantucket 3-5?
Yeah, it's I think that's the biggest problem that we're seeing right now is the sport's so big, it's growing so fast. Everyone thinks they're better than they are. Look, I even do as well. And it's very hard because the only way to get better is to play with better people because no one's going to go out and drill. And so you always want to play with the better people. Everyone's always looking to play with better people. And it's very hard these days because they may say they're a 4-5 or a 4-0, but in honesty, there may be a 3-0 or 3-5, and common courtesy, you don't say much.
Yeah. And so me and Steven are going to go into some of our experiences when we've been on court. Maybe we're in a paddle stack, maybe we're about to go on court, and we've had some, I don't want to say traumatic, but awkward. It's usually awkward or very just uncomfortable experiences. Also, we're going to go into experiences where we felt like we've taken the high road or maybe given back and played with a lower level player. Or maybe when we started out, when we were the lower level player, or a higher level player took us under their arm and just said, hey, come out to my court. I'm going to teach you some things. And then after this game, I'm going to go play with my buddies because, I need my own level.
Absolutely. Agree.
Would you agree as a higher level player, part of our goal with this, I like to call it an infant sport because it's still growing and it's growing fast, but I think part of our role is to give back to players that are starting because we just started 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
I also coach all day. When I coach all day for 8 to 10 hours and I go out to the park, I don't want to coach somebody. I just want to play. I don't want to deal with that. So, Steven, off the top of your head, have you had one of those horrific experiences? I don't want to say horrific, but experience where you're on the court and maybe a 3-0 tries to get in your game and it goes poorly. Maybe it's because of your reaction or someone else's.
Yeah. Even one step further back, I think a great story that surrounds this. When I first started playing, again, I played tennis, I played squash, so I have racket skills. I probably started out I would say a strong 3-5 just because of my racket skills. In Nantucket here, we have a drop-in, and it can be someone that doesn't even know how to hold a racket or doesn't know how to keep score. You can go out there. It's very social. I've met a lot of friends. I've met a lot of people there playing. There was some people in particular that had never even picked up a paddle. Started playing with them. I was fine, had no sense of forehand, backhand, and now that person going from literally a 2-0, maybe a beginner, is probably a 3-5, 4-0 legitimately. And it really hurts me because that same person that I took the time to play with now will not play with anyone they feel is an inferior player. And it really bothers me that that's happened now.
I think we've all seen it. I, with my profession of coaching, have clients come to me all the time. They're like, hey, I want to play, but can you help me get a fourth that's my level? And then I'll text them back with a fourth that is their level, like duper wise, like on a coach's opinion. And they'll be like, I need someone else. And I'm thinking like, well, then I'm like, I can't ask in a text and put that out there. Is it because of their personality or like you just have friction personally? Because I get that. Like if you hate each other off the court, you probably don't want to play with each other on the court, even if they're the same level. No, it's because their inflated sense of self. I would never claim to be a 5-5 doubles player. But me and Steven have all played the person who you're like, you told me you were a 5-0, and now you showed up to a 5-0 game, and we can't hit a single ball to you because you can't get it back over. Yeah. And it's not comfortable for anybody. Yeah. And it's that person now realizing that they were not a true 5-0.
Yeah.
Maybe they were a Kentucky 5-0 rather than a Maui or Dallas or Florida, which is a very big hotbed of pickleball. But I would say, like, in that situation, when you see those people, it makes you sad, but you also feel like, man, I helped grow the sport by getting you to a level, and now you're just, Steven, what are your dogs' names over there?
Stop. We've got two pretty dogs. So not to interrupt, but
are they named Pickle?
No,
they should be named Pickle.
They love pickleballs. So Cam makes a good point, and the thousands of you that are watching this right now, we all have a phone. We all have multiple text groups that we're in to form pickleball matches. And it's really funny because I'm in 5 or 6 groups of 30 people, Dallas, Nantucket, all over the place, of people that are trying to get matches. And it was about 2 weeks ago that sort of made me realize what Cam's talking about. In these groups that you're in, there's some that obviously I'm the best player. There's some that I'm the worst player. It varies. But when a match is being formed, as Cam is saying, I've actually had people ask me, hey, let's say you're playing, because you're going to get a faster response to a match, right? Because if people know that I'm going to play, and this isn't tooting my horn because I get beat all the time, but if I'm in a 4-0 group text and someone says, hey, Steven's playing, that we fill up like that on a game, right? And it goes to Cam's point. People love playing with people better than them. It's so hard in pickleball to get a very level foursome together.
And would you argue, Steven, that if you got the opportunity, let's just throw out a
Absolutely.
Christian Alshon, Riley Newman, a pro, somebody, I'm just throwing out names, Ben Johns, Colin Jones, if they're in Nantucket and they book a public court and you know that they're there and you see them there and they come up to you and go, hey man, we're in town for a week. Tomorrow, will you be our fourth? You're not saying no to that. No. You're not saying no. You're jumping out of your shoes saying, I want to play with them. Yeah. But you also are very much aware you are holding them back.
It's like, charity.
It's charity for them.
It is charity.
They want to play with you. But moreover than that, you will get a lot better. They will not.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I have a group, and I'm never going to talk about my current job groups because I don't want to get in trouble. But I had a group of players I played with in Dallas, completely unrelated to my work, just in a public park. There's a paddle stack. It's actually at a park. I'll name the park, Churchill Park. You know what it is.
Yeah, sure.
The courts are crap. They're chipped. The lights are crap. You can barely see. The courts are filled till 10 p.m. every night. There's so many people. The paddle stack will be an hour. You'll have to wait an hour for a game. Yeah. People don't care. They wait. I've visually watched as two new beginners. We know they have the Walmart or the Amazon like Mophie paddles. I don't know what they're called. They show up, they find the paddle stack. Someone tells them how it works. They put their paddles in. I watch as two higher level players right in front of them walk over, grab their paddles, move them down the stack an hour later because they are unwilling to play in that game. Now, I have been the person who has to play in that game. You just waited an hour. You don't want to be in that game.
Yeah.
So be the person who goes to the paddle stack and says, hey, are you all beginners? Have you ever played before? Hey, let's see if we can find some other beginners to jump in that game. Don't just move your paddles and say nothing to them. They feel like the little kid getting bullied, in my opinion. Like, it's just like so deflating. They're going to not come back. They may never play pickleball again. They may be like, wow, pickleball players are bleepy beep holes. Like just, it's not a good look. Now, is it unfair to the higher level player to have to play in that game?
For an hour wait, I would argue yes.
But my argument would be proactive. Go introduce yourselves, get their names and say, hey guys, we're sorry. We're waiting on a 4-0 level game. Let me help you find a beginner game.
Yeah.
And in Maui, we started a bulletin board. Rather than a paddle stack, we had a bulletin board. Red was beginner. You signed it if you're a beginner. Blue was intermediate. Black was 4-0 plus. And you would be waiting for a court equally. But if there wasn't 4 red players, almost always someone from the blue group would go, hey, I'll fill that spot so I don't have to wait. I get a game. And you can see there's a group of 3. Oh, this player in black ink decided to play down. They're going to be nice. That is a good system. We need those systems.
Yeah,
Would you argue your facility would benefit on that?
I agree. We have a big problem here. Obviously, Nantucket has a ton of tourists. So you get a lot of people coming in. And we've got a regular drop-in, as Cam's saying, where it's beginner, intermediate, or a 5-5 could show up and he or she wants to play. They can go play at the regular drop-in, but you're going to probably be playing with 2 5s and 3 0s at best. We tried the advanced drop-in here in Nantucket, and we had the same problem. You had crossovers that people that are 2 5 and 3 0 that were showing up at the advanced drop-in, and it got nasty. It gets nasty. People say and think that they're 3 5s, 4 0s, and it's funny because in a tournament you're sandbagging and playing down, and when you're doing drop-in, you're a 5-0. But yeah, it's a very touchy subject right now because no one outside of some people in Texas, because that's how we're bred, will go up to someone and say, you know what? I just don't think you belong here. This group's not for you.
No.
And that happened here in Nantucket. I did not do it, but it did. And the person that was being relayed, they didn't belong in the advance, said, well, you sure are rude, and kept playing. And, and you're not going to forcibly remove someone.
Yeah, and that's why my job as a head pickleball pro at a facility is to make sure we have times for every age group. Not age group, skill group. And usually every skill group every single day. I want to have a 3-0 class, a 3-5 class, and then I want to have open play. Open play, I want a paddle stack. I want it organized. If it's not organized, me as the head pro, I failed. I failed the growth of the sport. But I would argue I came to one of your facilities' drop-ins. I was with you, I think, on the top or second to top court almost the whole time.
Yeah.
I think I went down at one point, but we were spinning paddles, mixing partners. It was a good look. But we all know when you get to a certain level and it's advanced and you have a 3-0, and even if I'm a 5-0 or a 5-5 and I get paired with them and I'm playing 2 4-5s, they can choose to hit every single ball to that player.
Yep.
And then the only thing I can do to potentially win that game is hog the ball.
Yeah.
And then that's also a bad look.
Yep.
So therefore,
in a recreational friendly drop-in, not a tournament,
you're not letting your partner hit the ball.
Right.
A tournament, if you and your partner agree that I get
80%
80% of the court and they get 20, that's fine.
Yes.
Watch pro mixed doubles. A lot of the time, and even with Ben Johns and Annalise, if you watch pros, Ben will cover 80% of the court.
Yeah.
But there are times Annalise goes and poaches the ball from him. It's all situational.
Yeah.
It's all a 20-foot wide court.
But in a recreational vacation spot like Nantucket, Churchill, people come out to play. When they play, they want to hit the ball. They don't want a stronger player covering stacking, doing stuff. So it is very hard, as Cam said, when you get a lower level player and you're trying to integrate them
Yep.
in.
How do we solve this problem, though, is the question. And, I wrestled with this with a coworker a while back about, we call it customer tennis or customer pickleball. When you're the pro and you're playing with your clients, like a 3&Me or something, and you're playing customer level. So you're not trying to put the ball away, you're trying to keep it in so they get more reps. I usually do that when I'm at the park and I realize I'm the best player. But at some point, I never get better. I actually train to hit to their easy shots. And then when I play a 5-0 game with Steven, I'm like over here babying a ball I should be putting away because it's a bad habit.
You get bad habits.
You get bad habits.
It's like if you're in golf and you just go out and you form bad habits playing with lower level players, and eventually it's going to hurt your game. So that's why this whole thing comes full circle, that if a 5-0 plays down all the time, you're going to create bad habits when you do go to a tournament or you play with other 5-0s. That bad habit's going to come out and it's going to bite you in the rear.
And so my next card was literally like, it just says, how much is too much? And what I mean by that is how many games is too much? Like, is it okay in a public park for me as a higher level player to play 5 games in a row with lower level players? Yes, it is if I choose to do so. But it should also be 100% okay that if there's a paddle stack, that I organize and try and get a higher group. At Churchill Park, the higher level players are always going around finding, hey, you're a 4, you're a 4. All right, let's control the stack so we get to play together. They're not excluding, they're letting the stack continue. They're actually having to wait longer a lot of the time to get their 4 paddles in. I think that's fine. I think that's great. I think that's good sportsmanship. But what we want to cut out is it's all about tone. It's about personality. When you see someone who's a beginner who shows up to a public court or a paddle stack, embrace them. Share your love for the sport with them. Does that extend to an organized advance only drop in?
It's tough.
Say no.
It's tough.
The answer is no. If it's organized as advanced
tough.
Only, the answer is no.
It's tough.
And
but you're always going to get the person or few people that show up with a friend or with so-and-so. They'll hang. They'll be able to play. And in the end,
don't we love the people who hang? It's like hanging a dink.
It just doesn't work. So it's very hard at a public facility where Cam works, and when you're at clubs, it can be a little bit more forceful, different because of ratings and this. But where we are in a public facility, it's very touchy.
So have you ever had a situation where you have that friend of a friend, the person who can hang, like when you hang a dink up there and get destroyed, they're hanging, but they end up on the bottom court of advanced every single time. And then the top courts get sick of them coming up one. So then they go, oh, y'all play 2 out of 3. We'll play 2 out of 3. I know you've been in one of those situations where you have the foursome that won't leave.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation. I did a drop-in at my last job, and it was advanced. It was supposed to be advanced only. We had advanced and we had super advanced. We had 3 guys out there who were over 6s on dupers probably.
Wow.
Some of them are on the pro tour now or playing in pro tournaments. And they showed up, and no fault of their own. When they got there, it was early. More people showed up. Well, they were in like a 3 out of 5 matchup. And I had multiple people come to me and was like, hey, I really want to play with them. Hey, I really want to play with them. And I was like, you know what? Let's respect the fact that they got here before it. This is happening. Let them finish. And if they want to mingle afterwards, let them mingle. Well, I have authority because I'm kind of an employee of the club. But, those players I also know were the first to jump in with everybody afterwards. And so you almost have to have someone there who knows the situation because it's a gray area. When you argue, there's never a set in stone unless it's a private facility and you say, hey, if your duper rating isn't this, you can't show up. How many people at a private facility don't have dupers? They haven't played tournaments. That doesn't mean they're not good.
There's no one that I play with here in Nantucket outside of maybe 4 people that have dupers.
That's a problem. So we need to get, especially our private facilities, to rate their own players. I've spent over 30 hours in the last week sending out ratings to players at my current job. They're not mean. In fact, I would say they're not inflated, but they just say 3.0 plus, 3.5 plus, and they say this is your my job rating. This is not a universal rating. This is so when you show up at my clinics, you show up to the right one.
Right.
And if you do want to come to the 3.5 clinic and my rating says you're 3.0, that means you're not admitted until I update the rating. I have people ask me all the time, am I there yet? Am I there yet? Am I there yet? Oh my gosh, it's a road trip. But I want them to get there. That's the key. Like, don't you want everyone to get better so you have more competition.
Absolutely.
When I watch the pro game and I see, I think a guy named Pablo just won singles. Never heard of him. He played unbelievable. The more higher level athletes and players we have coming to the sport, the better the ultimate level is, the more fun it is to watch.
Yeah.
So all these problems, if they're handled well, actually lead to better players.
Yeah, I agree. It's like joining a fraternity or sorority. You just gotta. It's like you walk in, you don't know anyone. It's happened to me. I mean, like I'm a strong player, and I joined a new club in Dallas because it gets so hot, the weather sucks, it rains, so I needed an indoor facility to play at. And some of my friends were like, well, go over to Lifetime. So I joined Lifetime because they have indoor courts. And again, I'm a strong player, and I had to show my game, I guess. I don't know, there's a term I'm looking for here.
Your level.
I had to show like who I was, as Cam said, because my paddle was getting passed over, and I'm a strong player until people saw me play. And then I was like accepted because I kissed the ring of like the better players at this place. So I know how hard it is, even at my level, to get into groups and to play at the higher levels at any facility. And like I said, I'm a pretty strong 5.0 player, but I go to a new place, I've got to cut my teeth.
Should have named your dog Pickle.
Yeah.
I think I should go over a horrific story. It's not a horrific one, but a funny story, all right? I was at Waipulani Park. If you ever go to Maui, you have to go to Waipulani Park. There's over 5,000 cracks in the court, minimum. The nets are like, they have actual, it's not a shoelace, but like a regular rope as the net cord. The city, I know a guy who's personally offered to resurface the courts for free, donate it.
Uh-huh.
City won't do it because there's these resorts looking out on the ocean.
Yeah.
These courts are on the ocean in Maui. Beautiful, stunning. I'll put a photo in. The courts are absolute trash. They're booked solid. I mean, they're not booked. It's free play.
Oh yeah.
Paddleboard.
They're full.
Yeah, they're full. They have a bulletin board. Blue, I think red's beginner, blue's intermediate, black is 4.0 plus. I went there. I never went there. I coached too much, and the line on Saturday morning was so long. But I had a 5.5 tourist in town who hit me up. We had no court space in my work, so I was like, we'll go play there. Hopefully we can find some better players. I show up, he's not there yet. It's a 5.5.
Hey.
I'm thinking he could be a 5.5. He could have lied to me, but I pulled him up on YouTube and I watched him play. I was like, this dude's a 5.5. My buddy, who will not be named, watched his YouTube video and goes, that dude looks like he sucks. And I'm like, do you understand that when you put yourself on camera, it's really easy to point out the errors. You never look as high when you're on video.
And it looks slower. We video a lot here, and it's crazy how slow and easy the game looks. But I'll tell you,
it's a cell phone video. You can't see the spin.
The different camera angles. We've started to do the kitchen cam. We've started to do the kitchen cam, and it really shows the speed and the angles. So when you're watching, when you subscribe to the Pickleball Traveler, you'll see all these videos, and it is amazing, the drops, the dinks, the reset. I look at them like, man, Ben John's isn't shit, right? But like, I mean, it truly is crazy. The kitchen view is amazing. We've started to do that, and he'll have some on his YouTube page, but it shows you the speed and the just the angles that people are hitting. And I can only imagine what Anna Lee Waters and Ben Johns are doing when, us 5.0 hacks are doing it.
And you see it on high def on their videos, and some of their shots look unbelievable. But you got to think in person, it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
I've been to pro pickleball tournaments.
Yeah.
In person, you're like, holy crap, that ball's moving.
Yeah.
That's a big serve. On TV, it's like, wow, he's rolling that in.
Yeah.
He's rolling that in.
You watch YouTube. I've got a bunch of YouTube videos. Cam has a bunch. Watch it on TV, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I can hang with those guys. That's nothing. But
and then you go see them in
truly is, it's different.
But that all sets up, I guess you could say, the story that I'm going into, the Waipulani, right? My friend doesn't come. So it's just the two of us, me and this new tourist. And my buddy Ryan, to his credit, shows up. And Ryan's a 4-0 player. I think Ryan himself would say I'm a better player than him. But Ryan can hang. He can hang. He's a good athlete. He's probably like 6'2". Excuse me. And I see these guys playing, and I see black on the board. So I sign up with two people I've never seen before. And I see the third, and it's a kid. Dude is maybe 13 years old. I play with him a lot. I'm not going to name his name. He's a kid. He is a trash talker, funny kid. Tongan, I believe. He's hilarious. Just local Hawaii kid. He balls out. Like, he is a 4-0 at his 13, 14 years old. I sign up. I'm like, I'm going to play with him. This will be fun. We'll take on two adults. Like, it'll be good. 30 minutes later, I come back. My name's not there. Like, it's literally gone. Like, someone had just put in another name. And I'm like, I'm not anywhere else on the board. Like, I am gone. Like, from the board. And there's a line. So I go, and I watch them walk on the court. And I'm right there. And I know the kid. I'm like, hey, man, I thought I was in your game. And the kid didn't seem to know what happened. But he said something like, oh, did you sign it in black? Maybe they thought you weren't an advanced player. You know, they go out and play. So I wait. I watch them play. I'm looking at them going, they're good. But I coach pickleball for a living. I could beat all of them. Like, just playing up straight up. Not prideful, I can tell. So when they come off, I go, hey, man, I signed the board and you took my name off. And one of the guys goes, well, yeah, we have people all the time from out of town who say they're advanced. And they show up and they ruin our game. Like, he just straight up says it to my face. And I goes, okay. And he goes, are you a 4-0 plus? Like, are you at least a 4-0, like at minimum? And I go, yeah, I'm at least a 4-0. At this point, I'm kind of pissed. Not because of the situation, because I understand it, but his tone.
Yeah.
He was talking to me like I sucked.
Yeah.
He didn't know what paddle I had. He didn't know anything. He just saw a player. He put me in a box. And I go, all right, well, I want to play the next game. I hear him whisper under his breath to his friend and go, let's make this quick. He said something else. He said something like, if he sucks, let's just get it quick and then we'll rotate him out. Like, literally, it was disrespectful.
Yeah.
But I'm an unknown.
Yeah.
How much motivation do you think I had to win that game?
Yeah, I've been there. Like I
don't
said,
even think I had to try.
My previous story, you have to prove yourself. It's crazy. Like,
we spanked them. The dog likes my story. We spanked them.
Yeah.
Like, it was easy. We rotate. I get what they deem probably was the worst player on the court, or the second worst.
Yeah.
Spank him again. Rotate. Get to the third game. I think it was 11-1 in the third game. At this point, the kid, I don't think he was playing in, but me and the kid go, like, he's a great player. Love him. Ryan shows up, I think. The tourist shows up. We bring this 5-5 out. We start playing. The dude hits an around-the-back volley in the first game. He hits a tweener. We're goofing off. We have the kid and Ryan and me in the 5-0. The other court next to us is a group of 4 or 5+ players. I know some of them. They're good. They didn't know me very well yet. I just moved to Maui, Hawaii. They see the tourist, and they single him out when he walks off and goes, hey, we need a high-level guy. One of our guys is leaving. They ask him to play. He plays, spanks them. They give him the worst partner. Then they both leave. The tourists just leave. So one of the guys comes up and asks me to play. And he's like, hey, you seem like you're really good. Would you play with me? They give me the worst partner on the court. We barely lose. The guy I was playing with, no offense, wasn't good enough to be in that game. We almost beat them. Then they want me to play all day. And I'm like, oh. The dog's interested. I was like, why don't you ask my buddy to play with y'all? My buddy kind of goes, no, I don't want to play with you. Like, I know the reputation. Like, that's the whole idea of the bulletin board was wasted.
Yeah.
I signed my name in black. Give me a shot to prove it.
Yeah.
If I go out there and I suck, then you have the educational moment where you go, hey, you signed your name. It says it's advanced. I just want you to know you just lost 11-1. Like, maybe then I will realize the error of my ways.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's the story, and that's the problem we're dealing with, right?
Yeah, it goes in. I mean, the same aspect of that is, I mean, here, and it's other places, but like here, the big problem is that you're playing recreational, it's fun, and me being a stronger player, I always get paired in the recreational games or when we're setting up matches here. I always get paired with the weaker player. What drives me bananas in a recreational game that I've been invited to, they start playing my other guy.
They don't
Like
hit you
it's
the
like
ball.
it's like, hold on, I'm out here wanting to play, but like I'm seeing one out of every 15 balls. It's like let's just play a fun game. I don't, in a recreational game, I never target a player. Period.
Why try and win when you can try and get better?
Period. Exactly.
If you are targeting the weaker player, you're not getting better.
Exactly. If you're in a recreational game and you're watching or listening to this and you're in a recreational game, hit it to the better player. You're only going to get better. Like,
And you don't have to single that player out either.
No.
Hit it to both of them.
Just play the right shot. The right shot isn't always hitting it to the weaker player. And it just drives me bananas.
Yep. All right. Before we continue, and Steven talks about his banana issue, we're going to take a quick break. We got to finish our Dr. Peppers. Woo! And we'll hope you come back for part 2. Oh my gosh, I'm sore.